Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Derbyshire Dales series. The Dales contain some of the most beautiful British scenery. It's a magnificent area. Here's one of its 109 civil parishes. Welcome back to the Derbyshire Dales again, people, and to one of the smallest that we've done yet. And this one is on a dead-end road. It's a bit of a difficult thing to manage when there's roadworks in the area, let me tell you. However, I have managed to get myself here, so let's have a walk around the parish of Rowland. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Rowland, Roe Wood. Today in the Derbyshire Dales we come to a really small one, a place which has so little information about it out there that you do wonder if anyone knows anything about it at all. I have found a few bits, but this episode was really difficult to research. This is Rowland, whose name is a reference to the once presence of roe deer in the area. You might not see many deer in the fields now around here, but I did find some pigs on this walk at least. Rowland village occupies a dead-end lane off a road between Hassop and the A6020. Its nearest big village is Great Longstone, which provides most of the residents' facilities. An ancient village, it's believed the Vikings settled here first in 875 AD. There's no concrete evidence for that, but in the 1100 and odd years since then, farming has been the main economic activity. In the 1890s, Rowland had as many as 7 farmers. There's now a few less perhaps, but still the lush green Derbyshire countryside surrounding the village provides a form of income. Property-wise, generally speaking, if it's in Rowland, it's either a house or a farm. There's no church, shop or school, nor is there any sort of communal building. It does have allotments though. I imagine the fans out there weren't expecting that one. Let's have a wander and see it all firsthand. We begin with a drive from Hassop station along the A6020. Now, because the parish boundary runs along this road, some of the properties on it belong to Rowland, those on the right hand side. Among their number is an old coach house, used today as a B&B. This road leads to Ashford in the Water, sweeping the edge of the Thornbridge estate as it does. This area is known as Rodale, a shortened form of the word Rowlanddale. It's the name given to the shallow valley that sits below the main village and to the west of Hassop station. The Monsell Trail passes through this area. After leaving the A6020 at a junction just before it bends south towards Ashford, you'll pass under a bridge carrying the former railway line, but there's no way to access it from Rowland. Once under that bridge, the road splits, left for Great Longstone and right for Rowland and Hassop. Now we're on Longreave Lane, and this runs north towards the main village, but it also includes a stretch of houses of its own. This time the properties in question are on the left-hand side, and there are no hotels or B&Bs among this lot. It's literally all housing. Now, if you were to keep following this lane, it would eventually take you to Hassop, emerging at the Roman Catholic Church of All Saints near the entrance to Hassop Hall. The main Rowland village is off this lane to the left after it bends to the right, but getting to either on this particular day proved to be a little bit challenging. Severn Trent Water had some roadworks on the go, completely blocking my way. This could have caused me a big problem as far as the main walk goes, but thankfully I was in luck. Now that's the difficulty with roadworks. Sometimes you don't know where exactly where the road is actually closed, and as you can see here, it's between Rowland, the road to Rowland, which is here, and the road from Hassop station, and that's all right, but of course Hassop village is that way, and if I'd have known that the road was closed there, I would have done Rowland first, because obviously that was the easiest of the things to do. Never mind though, because the workmen have actually given me permission to park the car there at the roadworks, because the road's closed. It's not as if anyone's going to come through, and it's safe there for a bit, which is a good thing, which means I can just walk it into the village. It's not that far. It's about half a mile from where the roadworks are to where my start point is actually, so you know, it's not all that bad to be honest. So we'll just follow this country lane for a while until we reach the beginning. Let's go. So this is Rowland village, half a mile or so up the road from where the roadworks were. This lane is a dead end, and pretty much every property on it is either a house or a farm. There aren't very many of either, whichever way you slice it. The houses are mostly old and stone built, with the odd modern one here and there. The population of the village is too small to appear in official records by itself, and so for that, it's usually grouped with Great Longstone. Around Rowland village are fields separated by low stone walls which have been farmed continuously for the last 1,000 years. Being so small, Rowland doesn't have its own parish council. It shares one with Great Longstone. That said, it does have its own notice board, and that was helpful for me at least. Mark off this tiny hamlet everyone, the Derbyshire Dales is down to 81. That board can be found on one of only 2 bends in this lane. It jinks firstly right and then back to the left, offering some nice views northwards into the hills. Legend has it that Rowland was settled by the Vikings in the year 875 AD. I can't imagine the place looks too dissimilar now to how it did back then, largely unspoilt and peaceful. After turning the second corner, you're met with a clutch of buildings that sit around and opposite a big farm. Even though lead mining was quite prominent at Hassop just down the road, farming has always been the major economic activity in Rowland. Kelly's Directory in 1891 listed a total of 7 farmers, with surnames Bacon, Bunting, Johnson, Murphy, Needham, Oliver and Thomas. Interestingly, Rowland also had a bootmaker at that time by the name of James Brightmore. That suggests Rowland had at least one form of a cottage industry to supplement the farming income. Now to get back to the start, you can use this footpath which loops around the back of the village and brings you out close basically to where the village sign is, and that will make a nice neat little circuit. The only thing is, this path looks quite overgrown, so there might be a few nettle stings on my legs by the end of this. We'll soon find out. In actual fact, this path wasn't all that bad. The beginning of it was covered in nettles, true, but once through that, the only other problem was a second part halfway along it that featured a stone squeeze gate. They're not the easiest things to get through, let's be fair. Generally speaking, there's not much on this path. It's simply just a way around what is a patch of waste ground between the houses and the fields beyond. It was interesting though to see the village from a different angle. Once back to civilization, I passed a small enclosure containing some pigs. It's not often we see any of these on our travels. Well, here you go people, this just goes to show it doesn't matter how small your place is, you can still have allotments, and there are Rowlands. We are done with the village now. We've completed the circuit thanks to that very overgrown footpath, and now we're going to take a left turn back onto the main road, and I've got to make about a half a mile journey back to where the car is on foot, which isn't too bad to be fair, and that's Rowland, done. With that, we're done with Rowland. All that remained was to drive away via Bakewell Lane and into Great Longstone. If you haven't seen the Great Longstone episode, check it out. It's linked in today's end screen. Next time, we'll be on the other side of that village as we go in search of another massive Derbyshire mill. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.